So Moho 14 has a new SVG importer utility built into it, and it works really well. All the transform dots, the curves, the editability works seamlessly. I do have one issue with it, and we will get to it in a moment. But first of all, how do we do it? I'm in Affinity. I've got a file with various different bits and pieces, some text, some splats, blah blah blah. Note how everything is laid out. This is going to become important in a moment. And what we're going to do now is just export it. Look, export it as SVG, which is under the export settings in Affinity. You don't really have to do too much here. What I do like to do though is click on hex colors so the colors transform properly. And there's also a text option as well. Change text where it's export text as curves, or just in case. Okay, you can see I've got transparent background on this as well, but that's unimportant. So I'm going to export this, save it in my documents folder right at the bottom. Don't know why I put it there. Replace that. Go to Moho. I'm going to import SVG. Now there's some settings you need to be aware of. The settings dialog box comes after you've actually selected what you want. So in other programs it would come up first. Remember, it will come up. So that's the file we just exported. Let's open that. And here's the dialog box. Now, when I first came into this, this is how it was set up: consolidated layers and vectored layers, which what happens is that everything gets pushed together in one layer, which is not what you want. And you can click and unclick it. The thing that works for me, if I click consolidate layers and group layers, the thing that SVG does, or the exporter does, is when it exports the files as in SVG, all of these here end up in subfolders. So let me just show you, for example, let's import my SVG. What? Oh, wait a minute. You can see that it puts everything that was formerly in one layer into a subfolder. Now what I want to do is get rid of those subfolders and have it back to how everything was layered in my original thing. I don't know why SVG does that. I'm sure if I looked it would solve it. So what I do in the import is just click the group layers. So what it does is undo what the SVG does. So when I import it, you can see that the layers are all brought back to how they are in Affinity Designer. Whereas if I had done it the old-fashioned way, it would come in looking like this, and it's just an extra bit of dicking around. One thing I want, the one thing that it doesn't really handle very well is the origin point. Now I set the origin point for this layer to be right in the corner here, and you can see the origin point is not there. So origin points don't translate, which is a real shame. You can see here there's the origin point there, and if I do a transform in the original file, that's the only thing that bothers me. And when you're making a puppet, that's really important to set the origin points. It just means that when you're setting up a puppet, I wouldn't worry too much about the origin points in design, because you're going to have to redo them anyway. And it's a shame. Like, if that feature was fixed, everything would be perfect. And what I want to illustrate, let's just zoom in, what's really good is that all of these curves now work. Let's get to the splat. And what you can do now, this is totally editable, as if you've actually created it in Affinity itself, and you still have all the tools, and a lot of this stuff wasn't available to hide edges and that sort of thing. So I think it's fantastic. It works great. The only issue, as I say, pivot points don't translate over. I don't know if that's an Affinity problem, the exporter doesn't work properly, or an SVG problem. Now in the documentation for SVG, the translation points are supposed to work, but they don't work so well in this. So yeah, I don't know what to say really. I've tried exporting from SVG, so I export from Affinity, bring it back in an SVG, and then move all the pivot points again, and that doesn't seem to do anything well. So I've moved the pivot point there. Let's go export again. I don't know, maybe I should be using something. There's nothing on here that really indicates that this wouldn't work. Let's do test 2. Let's export it. I'm doing test 2 to show you that there's a difference here. And then go new, import SVG. Good thing with Moho is once you've set up your import settings, they're there. Import again, making sure that I've got everything selected that I want, and I go to the origin point is up here. The origin point should be down here. So that's the only thing. That's really the only thing that I can see so far. Everything else seems to work. I haven't tried gradients, but experiment, see what you can see. It's a great tool, and Moho's looking fab. Now I'm a small channel. I would love it, really appreciate if you like, subscribe, all that lovely stuff, to help support the channel and help it grow, get the name of the Coin Up Animator out there. I have also a website where you can see some of my work, and there's a little shop so you can buy stuff if you want. I will be setting up a Patreon or a Patreon-esque type membership that will give you discounts at the shops as well, so that's coming soon, but I just need to figure out how to program my website. Anyway, have a great day. Speak to you soon. Ciao for now.